Hello and welcome back to another video on the Football Zone and to the first weekend review on YouTube of the season. A lot of Premier League and Championship action, so let's get straight into it. Starting off with a historic night at the Brentford Community Stadium, Brentford 2, Arsenal 0. Sergi Canos with a goal in 22nd minutes give Brentford up and running, and from a long throw, Christian Norgard in 73 minute doubling the advantage, and Brentford were just outstanding here. Been really excited to see them in the Premier League, and they duly delivered. Just an incredibly special night. As for Arsenal, I really thought they were going to make a step forward, but just awful. Manchester United 5, Leeds 1 was the score at Old Trafford. Dominant from United here. 4 assists for Paul Pogba, goals from Fernandes with a hat-trick, Fred and Mason Greenwood, and Luke Ayling with a banger for Leeds. But Leeds were awful here, Man United were brilliant, and this has made me really excited to see what Man United can do this season. It is only one game, and the same can be said for Leeds as well. They got thrashed by United last year as well, so hopefully nothing to read too much into this, but just maybe slightly worrying. Watford 3, Villa 2 was the score at Vicarage Road in Watford's first game back in the Premier League. Goals for Watford coming from Dennis Sarr and Cucho, and 2 late goals from John McGinn and Danny Ings from the spot on his debut, but it wasn't enough for Villa. They did have a bit of a second half comeback, but on the whole they weren't great at all here, maybe just taking some time for the new signings to bed in. But Watford, they were outstanding. Their home form last season was outstanding, and they duly delivered here again, and I think that'll be a massive confidence booster for Xisco Munoz men. Leicester 1, Wolves 0 was the score at the King Power. Jamie Vardy's goal in the 41st minute was enough to get the win, and I'd probably say this was actually quite an even game, to be honest. Wolves actually had a lot more shots, but they just weren't clinical at all. But for Bruno Lage, I definitely think there are stuff that he can work on and improve the team performance for the next coming days. And for Leicester, we've seen so often they start the season quickly, and they've done so once again. Really solid start, and they'll just be looking to build on it. Moving on then. Everton 3, Southampton 1 was the score at Goodison Park. Adam Armstrong gave Southampton the lead in the 22nd minute on his Southampton debut, but goals from Richarlison, Decore and Calvert-Lewin gave Everton a fairly comfortable win in the end. And this is basically just what Everton needed to kick off the start of the season, because we know how controversial Rafa Benitez was, his appointment, so good for him to get the ground running. As for Southampton, not the best game for them, and I'm starting to worry for them this season, to be honest. Moving on then, Chelsea 3, Crystal Palace 0 was the score at Stamford Bridge. Goals from Alonso, Pulisic and Trevor Chalobah. What a moment for him it was. Sealed the win for Chelsea, and they look really, really, really good here. Brilliant from start to finish. Crystal Palace never really got a look in. Continue as they mean to go on, especially with Lukaku coming in. Palace, though, they were dreadful. They are missing some key players though, and with the error coming in, it may take some time for them to adjust. Burnley 1, Brighton 2 was the score at Turf Moor. Tarkowski gave Burnley the dream start in the 2nd minute, before goals from Maupay and McAllister in the second half gave Brighton the win. And what a great win that was for Brighton. Really solid start for them. Coming from behind as well, so not really much you can complain from on a Brighton POV. But as for Burnley, winning a home game with 20 minutes to go and then losing, it's not really the stuff you want, especially against a team like Brighton. Moving on though to the evening game, Norwich 0, Liverpool 3 was the score at Carrow Road. Goals from Jota, Firmino and Salah. That excellent performance from them really from start to finish. And they look really, really good again from the start. And if they continue on like that, it could be the start of a really good season for Liverpool. But as for Norwich, as I keep on saying on here, it's just one game. Still lots to improve on. New signings made. Take some time to bed in. And of course, they're going up against Liverpool, who are a great side, obviously. Newcastle 2, West Ham 4 was the score at St James's Park on the first Sunday of the season. Callum Wilson gave Newcastle a lead before equalising from Cresswell, and before Murphy gave Newcastle the 2-1 lead. It was a crazy start to the game. before in the second half things got even more crazier, at least in the first 20 minutes. Ben Rama gave West Ham the equaliser for West Ham before Antonio missed a penalty, but the rebound was put in by Souček, and then Antonio scored 3 minutes later, making up for it, giving West Ham a solid win, and what's the aim to start off the season. Tottenham 1, Manchester City 0 was the score in the big first Big Six game of the Premier League season, and yeah, this is a really, really good performance from Tottenham. The goal coming from Son Heung-min in the 55th minute. Big win for Tottenham. Definitely really encouraging because they play really well here. As for Man City, they just weren't at the races. Grealish didn't do a whole lot, but I think it's just about just bedding in for all of them. So hopefully nothing that's too much of a concern so far, especially with all this Kane stuff lumbering. Before we moving on to the Championship now, it was Peterborough 2, Derby 1 at the London Stadium in a crazy game for Peterborough and Derby. Derby took the lead in the 77th minute through Stretton, the young lad, before goals in stoppage time from Burrows and Sakiri Dembele gave Peterborough the win, and what a huge win this was for them, just coming out of nowhere. But yeah, that'll give everyone a massive boost after a tough first few games, so that's big for them. Derby, though, it's a hammer blow. Moving on, it finished Barnsley 1, Coventry 0 at Oakwell. The goal coming from Fraser in the 39th minute. However, in the 92nd minute, Coventry missed a penalty, which would have sealed a great point for them. Guy Corre is missing the penalty, which is really disappointing. But as for Barnsley, good to get the first win of the season, and 4 points so far. I'd say it's a good start under Marcus Schott. But for Coventry, of course, it's really, really frustrating, but close to getting a point at a team that was in the past last year. I think there is still positives to take out of it. Birmingham 0, Stoke 0 was the score at St Andrews. Not a lot to speak about in the game itself, really. Quite an even game, not a lot to separate the two sides at all, but for those sides, it's 4 points from the opening two games, which is a fairly solid return, I would say, considering both were last year. So yeah, I think they'll be very happy, but the biggest samples is the Birmingham Stadium, half of the ground not unavailable, which is really, really bad, to be honest, and does need to be sorted as soon as possible. But anyway, moving on, it finished Blackburn 0, Cardiff 2 at Bloomfield Road. Leandro Bacuna gave Cardiff the lead in the 52nd minute before Kiefer Moore in the 86th minute doubled Cardiff's advantage, and that gives Cardiff 4 points from the start of the season, which I think they'll be very, very happy with indeed. A comfortable win here. Blackpool, unfortunately for them, just weren't a match at all, really, so I think they'll be very, very happy with that. And then moving on to a drubbing for Huddersfield against Fulham. Goals from Mitrovic, one of the craziest goals you've ever seen. Just go and watch it, find it somewhere. And Onuma gave Fulham a 2-0 lead before Pearson scored for Huddersfield to get them back in the game. However, goals from Carvalho and then the brace for Caballero gave Fulham a really comfortable win, and that's even when Harry Wilson got sent off. But yeah, this is hugely concerning for Huddersfield. They don't seem to have got any better from last season, in fact even worse, but Fulham, gosh, they look hard to beat. But anyway, there was a massive come down for Hull at the MKM Stadium. Really bad for them. Goals from Chris Willock, Lyndon Dykes and Rob Dickey. Once again, that man's just on fire. Gave QPR an easy win. George Menker also got set off for Hull. But yeah, this was really dominant for QPR, and they're living up to their pre-season hype, it looks like. But as for Hull, I actually don't think they played too badly here, and there's definitely positives to take from it. Middlesbrough 2, Bristol City 1 was the score at the Riverside. Goals from Uche Ikpeazu and Matt Crooks for Middlesbrough. Bristol City did equalise for 10 minutes with a goal from Andy King. Middlesbrough with a win here. I think they'll be very happy with that. Really good start to the season from them. Very solid indeed. As for Bristol City, it's kind of what you expect from a transition season, isn't it? It's going to be very up and down for them, but I think they just have to stick by Pearson, because I did see some meltdown on their Twitter feed last night. But anyway, moving on, Millwall 1, Blackburn 1 was the score at the Den. Jeb Wallace giving Millwall the lead, that man again in the 64th minute, so crucial they keep hold of him, before Ben Brereton, Diaz, Chile national hero, with 14 minutes to go, equalised for Blackburn, and that's a really solid point for Blackburn. and 4 points for them for the start of the season. It's a really, really good start. As for Millwall, 2 draws. I think they would have seen this as a winnable game, but it's not a disaster at this stage of the season. Nottingham Forest 1, Bournemouth 2 was the score at the City Ground. David Brooks gave Bournemouth the lead in the first half before McKenna equalised for Forest, but a goal from Philip Billing 10 minutes later gave them the lead. David Brooks got a second yellow card after 68 minutes. But after that, I was really disappointed by Forest, I have to say. He just didn't really go for it in the last 10 minutes when they could have really done. It was negative by Chris Houston, who I'm a massive fan of, but I really do think they could have got something out of this. But anyway, moving on, Reading 2, Preston 1 was the score at the Medeski Stadium. Goals from Femi Aziz making his second first-team start for the club, and John Swift for Reading. There was an equaliser for Preston from the spot to make it 1-1, but Swift soon scored to give Reading the lead again. And yeah, by all accounts, this is quite a comfortable win for Reading. Preston, definitely worrying signs for them at this stage of the season. They seem to be struggling a bit, and their squad just doesn't seem good enough. But as for Reading, we know how much they're struggling financially. But yeah, this is a good result. West Brom 3, Luton 2 was the score at the Hawthorns. This game was obviously overshadowed by the injury to Clark, so yeah, best wishes to him. But yeah, on to the game itself. West Brom took a 2-0 lead going into half-time for an own goal, and Robinson, Glancy made it 3-0 before a late comeback from Luton with goals for Cornick and then Ponzu tried to make it 3-2. But yeah, in the end, Luton couldn't find the equaliser. West Brom just about held on. First win under Ishmael, but positive both sides to take. Swansea 0, Sheffield United 0 was the score on Saturday evening in front of the Sky cameras, and I have to say this wasn't the most entertaining game I've ever watched. But yeah, I think both teams will be fairly happy with it. Swansea obviously still in the transition period with how late Russell Martin came in. Sheffield United kind of similar, getting used to Slavisa Jukanovic's style, but nothing to convince both sides are going to be disastrous this season. But yeah, I found it really interesting that Sheffield United haven't scored a goal yet. That's one of the sides I was least expecting it from, but I will. But anyway guys, that's it for the video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, leave your thoughts, comments down below. Follow me on Twitter, link in the description below for daily football news. Subscribe to my channel, subscribe around, that would be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.